Hey guys, welcome back to the playthrough, part 2, day 2, Valley of Repose. We're gonna go into our first cave today, but also important, and we'll be doing this every single time. I do not care what any of you say, because it's important. We got the Piklopedia.
Oh, we gotta read.
So,
we gotta learn.
They cut,
love reading.
For some stupid reason, they cut this from Pikmin 3 until Deluxe came out. But there's so many fun things you can do. So you get to look at any of the enemies. It gives you a name of it. We got the classic, the dwarf red bulborbs. You can throw pick carrots at them to see what their behaviors are.
That's cool.
Anyways. And then you also get Olimar's notes, where he does his chops as an amateur biologist. So the dwarf red bulborb, he gives it fake scientific names. Like, this game is responsible for like half of the things I'm really passionate about right now. Pensaris, Pseudoculi, Russus, which I actually know what some of that means. At least the last half of it is fake eye red. Anyways, breadbug family. Although initially identified as a juvenile red bulborb, groundbreaking new research indicates that this creature is in fact a member of the breadbug family. A close relative of the vanilla breadbug, it escapes predation through mimicry. Unique adaptation of the red bulborb's crimson coloration allows this species to safely commingle. Such effective adaptation and obfuscation by a prey species is rare, indicating this clever creature is a master of mimicry. So yeah, this whole time, if you thought those were the babies of those big bulborbs, nope.
No.
They just vibing.
I know, I like learning.
We got the pellet posies. They do not do anything if you feed them carrots, for they are just plants. Amplus nutrio, pellet weed family. In the stem of the pellet posy, one can observe the muscle fiber unique to half-plant, half-animal species such as the Pikmin and candy pop flowers. So the pellet posy is a species that can be considered a close relative. Although the ability to crystallize nectar is unique to a small group of the pellet weed family, the fact that these plants reach maturity so quickly and that their pellets contain such high concentrations of the natural nutrients in the soil explains why the Pikmin and so many of the other indigenous species are so reliant on these pellets for sustenance.
You're watching National Geographic.
And then we got the Courage Reactor. We've recovered our first treasure. Amazingly, the Pikmin remembered how to salvage it. I can't understand their adorable language, and I don't know what they're thinking yet. I'm so happy to see them. When I crashed on this planet, the Pikmin helped me locate my missing ship parts. In my darkest hour, the Pikmin were there for me. Now that I'm reunited with them, I know everything will be alright. It will. Right?
You know, since it's relevant, can you still play dead so the Pikmin can take you and,
Let me double check. I don't think you can because the button that was ascribed to that now functions for something that will come up later.
Wait, can we talk about spoilers for Pikmin 1?
Yeah, we have a series for Pikmin 1 up. If you haven't watched it, go and do that.
Woo! Okay, so I watched all the endings for Pikmin 1.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that bad ending for Pikmin 1 gives me nightmares.
Oh, where he gets turned into a Olimar Pikmin?
It's just the theory of like that only Olimar and friends can pick Pikmin,
Yeah.
and that he's just stuck there. That no one can pick him. He's just stuck there forever.
Well, they gotta free themselves eventually. I'm pretty sure the idea is more, it just takes a while.
I just find that...
Because the Pikmin propagate, they come out as seeds, they gotta come out somehow, you know?
This is creepy. That just chills my spine, that ending does.
Nintendo. With a little bit of edge.
Take it all?
Okay,
Well,
you know what I think's kind of
We
interesting?
need 35 to break the bag that actually leads to progression, so...
Okay, so Pikmin and Luigi's Mansion have two things in common that I can think of. There's probably more, but as I'm not like super in-depth with both of them, these are just like the two things that come to mind. Their first games are meant to be replayed. Intended to be.
Yep.
And two, They've only got 3 games.
Yes, it's true.
It's also like the concept of Luigi's Mansion is to keep a ghost on you while you keep the Pikmin on you. I mean, that's just simple correlations. But...
Okay, so actually, you know, speaking of the Luigi's Mansion, just as like a side note, I don't want to drag on the topic for too long, but having played all the games, or at least the first one and the second one, which method of vacuuming do you prefer?
That's a good question.
Can't ask me. I've only watched Twig play Luigi's Mansion 3. I haven't played any Luigi's Mansion.
I mean, so I think the third game has the best vacuuming, but between 1 and 2, I do prefer 1s.
3's got all the like the slam downs, I remember.
Yeah.
It's
Although
very satisfying.
Luigi's Mansion 3 just has a lot of fun things going
a lot
on
of
with
polish. I just hate that the games are so short.
it. I don't have any issue with short games. To be honest, the older I get, the less time I have for things, the more I prefer my games to be manageable in a reasonable time span.
see, for me, it's less less I don't have enough time, more I think a lot of games, well, not every game, but a lot of games turn out better when they're shorter because they're more concentrated experiences and they're not set to bloat themselves unnecessarily to meet some really unnecessarily high hour quota to appease those gamers that think hours of content is better than quality of content.
I choose Square Enix. But anyway, yeah, I agree.
Rip this guy.
Jeez.
See, I'm not trying to like throw shade here, but I got into an argument with someone on Twitter. I know the heck site, and
Oh wait, we got a minute.
basically the gist of it is a indie developer. The game I don't remember off the top of my head. Created a 90-minute game.
No, that is a strategy. You throw him from behind, you can't react fast enough, and he dies.
It was a 90-minute game, and everybody essentially was enjoying the game a lot, but because Steam's return policy is 2 hours, and the game is only 90 minutes, a lot of people who purchased the game were using Steam's return policy to, you know, essentially play the entire game for free, even though they loved it. And when he made a post saying, or the developers made a post saying that he was going to quit game development because he was so demotivated from that, so many people were like, should have just made a longer game. And that just makes me sad. Short games deserve to exist. Like, of course, you know, you wouldn't want something like Persona 5 to be like 5 hours. That would be way too short. RPGs can kind of get away with having longer experiences. But
Well, I think it's less about just strictly being an RPG and more about, like, if your game's gonna be long, make sure it is long for a good reason.
yeah,
And usually short games have like smaller maps, so you can like everything in the corner of the map is like important. I specifically know that like when I played Banjo-Kazooie, like all the maps were
Good old Banjo-Kazooie.
like they weren't massive, and like everything made in the map was like eventually meant for me to check out. I still have not beaten Banjo though,
Really?
because that board game in the end.
Has it been giving you troubles?
Well, I stopped playing it, and I don't remember any of the answers, and I also learned that all the questions always change.
Yep.
So
Well, there's a set of them that change. Specifically the ones about Grunty, personally. The shade that her sister throws at her.
well, if it makes you feel any better, and if you ever want to look into it, there are some pretty good skips that people have found out in ways to mostly
if you're talking
completely
about
bypass.
that one specific video where like you get hit with lava, and like there's a small corner that you can jump on with like paint with like hurt animations on. I've seen that. Them talk about that.
Well, there's a skip that you can do for the board game specifically, where there is a free space over a sudden death question at the very beginning of the little section.
Yeah.
If you can, there is a small gap where you can actually pull out a Talon Trot when you cross between those two squares.
Yeah.
If you do that, it just lets you walk through the rest of the board, as long as you keep the Talon Trot out, because it's not programmed to deal with not banjo walking. And that's how you skip it. You can basically do that and then go answer the last question. Or, well, you don't gotta answer the last question, you just go up the stairs. Leave Grunty and your sister just chilling over there. Listen though, the formations you can do with the C-stick, it's so nice. I miss it. Like, the charge is a good replacement, but it'd be nice to have both, honestly.
Yeah.
And this is why we unionize. Anyways.
Gotta have one to start an army.
No, because Louis wouldn't listen. No, I just know I know my employees. But no, later on in the game, well, back in the day when I was playing this as a kid, you know, I'd just start getting the freaking, like, claw hand out to be moving them around a certain way and throwing at the same time, and camera controls are all on the triggers.
The classic clab or claw grip. I have to wonder if, like, developers even consider that sometimes.
Dreadful water.
Yeah, we're not crossing that yet. And it's time for our first cave!
I have no clue what's about to happen.
Saving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Easy. I feel like I would go insane if I had to deal with that. Yeah, that's how caves work. At least in the winter.
So, Trey, you got any cool biology facts about winter for us?
About winter in specific, huh?
Winter in specific, because it's relevant.
So, it is actually very bizarre how many insects are just kind of vibing out here during the winter. On average, when it reaches a certain temperature, most arthropods, insects, etc. enter a state called torpor to conserve energy. And just because, in general, is too cold for them to function and effectively gather energy from the types of things they usually do because, well, plants don't grow as well. The primary producers of energy for an ecosystem are just not around. How the crap did you get over there, buddy?
Hard work and determination, but you don't have hands.
More like, why did he run over there? Now we gotta make sure none of our boys are dying. Okay. That kept the whistle stuck.
Why did you make an exobike park if you don't even have any hands?
There's a lot of different ways things go into torpor, though. For the most part, they'll basically just crawl up in a spot and bam, that's what they're doing until further notice. Some of them, though, will go and burrow or sequester up in trees, etc., etc. One of the most horrible things was having to, and this happened all year round, back whenever I was working for a retail store which featured frozen foods, but they had a section with an open cooler, is that flies would fly in there, and because it was cold, they'd enter torpor. Because it's not a conscious thing, it's just, oh, it's cold? Alright, I'm conking out. So, you just end up with a bunch of flies in there. If you think they're dead, nope. If they get heat, like if they start to warm up a little bit, they'll wake up. It actually takes a decent amount of time to wake up.
You know, I actually saw that happen to a fly that jumped into my fridge while I was trying to get something out of it.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Some other fun facts. Insects aren't the only thing that do torpor, though. Hummingbirds enter torpor. Because with as high as their metabolism is, they have to have that low of a resting period. They'll enter it during night, in fact. They have specialized muscles within their legs that allow them to basically grip with incredible force to whatever they're holding on to. If you go online, you can find plenty of videos where you'll see a hummingbird grab onto a perch, and then as it enters torpor, it'll just start hanging upside down. Because
That's kind of neat.
Balance. But it takes them about, depending on the species and depending on, you know, the amount of heat involved, it can take anywhere between like a couple minutes to even like 30 minutes or more for them to wake up from torpor.
Are there any insects that naturally still go out in the winter?
Not in areas where the temperatures are too cold. Uh-oh. Exciting boss battles. Anyway, in places that aren't really affected by what we in a temperate climate would call winter, it doesn't really matter. But for the most part, insect cycles are... Oh gosh, no. Okay, got him. Saved him. No Pikmin died in the making of this venture. I'm not going to say no, period, because there's always exceptions out there.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
none that I'm aware of in our area.
Well, that's fair. We don't want to dox ourselves anyways.
While you was educating us about that, you missed that the Pikmin did the Easter egg where if they stand still for long enough, they'll start humming the theme.
Yep.
The theme.
Actually, I feel like I heard them doing that before you were standing still.
But they'll do that if basically the area is clear of any threats and they're just vibing.
And they'll also sing that promotional song.
I know Uta.
Yep.
So to get them to sing I know Uta, you have to get 20 of each type of Pikmin and just let them sit around for a little bit. So we won't be hearing that one for a while.
Yeah.
Russell Sprout. All you gotta do is get a good shot, and they can't fight back.
Do you think, I'm trying to think of a good way to word this. Assuming Pikmin were real, do you think any of the Pikmin would be thriving in the winter?
No.
Red Pikmin could.
Well, so, alright. Time to get into some fun biology things. So they've got this sort of fictional plant-animal hybrid thing going on.
Or maybe we can just bring the question, if Pikmin were real, what would they be considered?
So, they would more than likely 100% be animals. The question is how... So they've got leaves and such, and they have green, which suggests that those leaves do in fact contain chlorophyll. Thing about chlorophyll and such, and this can be observed in species that have actually basically co-opted chlorophyll by absorbing it from plant and phytoplankton bacteria they've ingested.
Big boy.
They have to adopt a more sessile lifestyle to make the energy gain that they get from, you know, photosynthesis to be worth anything.
I think the game really doesn't show us how they really make it. Words. The game doesn't show really how they act. It just shows how they do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to.
But, for all intents and purposes, anything that's seriously using chlorophyll like that just would not be quite as modal as these dudes are. It's just not feasible for them.
And our busted boys are here with the big guns.
Oh, I'm not using a whole purple for... Okay. Again, I said I'm not. Red. There we go.
So assuming Pikmin were real, do you think there'd just be a lot of Pikmin sharing the same ecosystems, or do you think the types would only show up in areas that they're best suited to, like say blue Pikmin in the more humid areas?
It would definitely be a matter of them showing up in areas they're best adapted for. Just, while it's not like it's impossible for there to be habitation by a bunch of multifaceted species for a single area, those have to develop niches to be able to cohabitate. Otherwise, they're just going to compete each other until the other one is extinct, or they both die out and suffer because
I'm just gonna say like the basic.
there's only so many resources available.
I'm not as biologically smart, but I'm just gonna say like the basic thing that I just see a Pikmin as like some kind of ant.
Yeah, no. That's a fair way to try and rationalize them.
So do you think other insects would try to pollinate the Pikmin?
Flowered Pikmin, it would be very weird if there weren't. Because that's what flowers evolved for. There's a lot of fun things that go into the evolution of flowers and insects. Spherical Atlas. And we're almost 1/100th of the way through, guys. It's a device resembling a microchip embedded inside this sphere. You ever check your globe to see if they put a microchip in there?
Oh, I haven't done that. But I know there's this
Could
whole...
come with a map.
You know, it would be kind of cool though, actually, if it was like a globe meant for it. Like it says what it is on the outset, and if you pressed the globe, the little globe button
Some, like,
on
National
top.
Treasure stuff.
I wasn't gonna go quite that far. I was just gonna say you press the button on top, and it would highlight where you are in the world.
That would be fun.
But I know one thing everyone sees on the internet recently with globes is like you go to a thrift store and like people like look at the globe and like look at the spots in the globe to determine what year the globe was made in.
Oh, that's kind of neat. See what countries are there that don't exist anymore.
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if you really could do it, but it would be almost kind of fun to, so you know how there's like ARGs and stuff? Imagine doing an ARG, but like, you hide the clues, not all of the clues, just like some of the clues to get started at a bunch of different, say like Goodwills or whatever. So you sell your stuff, but like you're intended to like find them,
I can already,
maybe open them.
already see TikTok. Did you see? Did you see?
Oh god.
You just see it now. All these like thrifters are just going insane.
So you know what? I'm gonna say it. I have more respect for TikTok than I do Twitter.
I agree. Like TikTok's algorithm is scary. It's scary how good it is.
It is. You also have to be really careful what you like, because, you know, if you like something you only kind of enjoy, and it turns into all you're getting.
And what it also does is there's a way it gets into your contacts with your old friends from high school, and that's how you see all these random people that you know on TikTok. Or like old contact numbers from your phone, something like that.
I don't know about that.
The more I talk about it, the more I sound like an old person.
Well, listen, okay, just in general, old people getting into Facebook is one of the worst things that have happened for just culture in general, because somewhere down the line, they decided the lessons that they made sure to teach the younger generation for a couple decades about being super careful on the internet, never share your personal information, don't talk to strangers. Throw that away. I got Facebook now. Everyone needs to know everything about my life, where I live, where I'm working, my phone number, my email.
0 days.
In that way, I can find people that I know that I didn't actually want to give my contact information to, so that they can find me and I can find them. And then, wait, you're telling me third-party companies are also looking at this data on Facebook? I thought it was just my friends.
Every episode we will complain about a social media platform. I'm very sorry.
Until all of social media learns its lesson. This is a threat.
Okay, not to go, I hate Twitter again.
But everything you see on Facebook is Twitter.
Listen, I'm actually not. But I want to go back to internet about 10 or so years ago, maybe a little bit earlier, to go back to the more anonymous days. I actually kind of still stick to my own personal motto of it's screen name. Only my friends need to know me by a first name personal basis.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how I am. If you don't know me, it's Elliewood. I prefer to keep it that way.
So I made a joke about like the horrible capitalist system that Hakote is, but to be honest, that demonstrates that they're at least better than the U.S. because the corporate machine overlooking everything said, "What, you want to keep working? No, you take a break. You need rest. You're exhausted. Look at you."
Wow.
I wish literally any time that would be a reality. That'd be cool.
Maybe the end of the world is all that it takes.
Take it slow and steady.
It's just
Times I've ever heard that at work? 0 times.
I tell myself that
sad.
every morning.
Yeah.
Give your corporate job the bare minimum. Always.
Exactly.
Always.
That's all they want to give you.
It's just kind of sad though, because so many people just want to they want to whine about how no one's getting to them. Where's all the employees at? But it's just be more understanding, please.
You ever consider paying more?
Although you know what's something I would like. I was just thinking about this. I know this is kind of like a weird shift to make,
there.
but so who here on the couch has played a Persona game before?
I think
I have.
everyone on the couch.
Awesome. I've always thought about this before, but I think it would be kind of great.
Still 0 deaths.
I don't know how you would do it or make it make sense.
Oh yeah, by the way, they show you every single way in which your Pikmin have ever died. The only kindness they give you is they call it sunset instead of neglect. Because that's how that happens.
Well, it's certainly better than neglect.
Baby steps first, Olimar. Plan well and don't worry about me. Our debt is with Happy Hakote's savings and loan, after all. Besides, there's nothing left to repossess. So ha! All they did was take my employee's personal rocket ship. Imagine if you showed up to work and they repossessed your car. Sorry,
Yeah.
Sorry, editor, for that one curse word, but
Just put the sound of a Pikmin dying over it.
oh, please don't do that.
Don't do that.
That's messed up.
Don't give them ideas.
But anyways,
Oh, that just comes up with a different messed up thought.
I'll have to wait for next episode, I'm
Yep.
afraid.
Or
So, thanks everyone for joining us. As always, next episode, We'll find a new social media to complain about,
You're
and that
next.
is a threat.
You're
See you
next.
next time.